It's 2 minutes till 5. We'll give it till 2 or 3 minutes after. We'll do some brief introductions. I recognize some familiar names. Thank you all for coming back week after week, and some new names as well. So with that, I'll ask for a brief introduction, your year in school, your major, and why you took this course in entrepreneurship. Joshua Ketchum, year in school, major, and why you took this course.
I think I'm a junior. I'm a mechanical engineering major, and I took this course just because I want to learn more about potentially starting my own business and kind of what the process is like for doing that.
Excellent. And what have you thought about the course so far?
It's been good. It's a little bit fast-paced just because it's a summer semester, and with other classes, it's a little bit tough. But it's been really valuable. Provided a lot of good insights for that process.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Miguel Paredes, again, year in school, major. Why you took this course?
I'm in my final year at ASU. I'll graduate in December. I'm in the computer science program. And to be honest, it was just filling a requirement, and this was one of the options.
Okay. And what do you make of the course so far? Are you glad you took it?
Yeah, it's honestly pretty interesting, especially like in the tech world, doing a startup. Got some good advice.
Excellent. What are your aspirations after graduation?
I currently work at a factory, and so I plan to move into an engineering role where I work now.
Good for you. Well, good luck, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, we'll do a few more. Allison Paulos. I always get the last names wrong. I apologize. Some of these.
You're good.
Year in school, major, and your reason for taking the course.
Okay, my name is Allison. I'm going to be a junior in the fall, and my major is chemical engineering. I also took this class to fulfill a requirement, but it seemed the most interesting that was offered in the summer. So.
And has it been interesting? Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different than all the other engineering classes. It's a lot more free thinking, which I think that one's super cool, more business oriented. So. Excellent.
Well, thank you for joining us, and we hope you get more than just extra credit from this brief lecture tonight.
Thank you.
We've got some more students joining. We're going to start here in about 2 minutes. But until we do that, we'll go to Krista Romero, year in school, major, and why you took this course.
Hi, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, perfect.
Sure can.
Okay. I am a senior. I graduate in December as well. I am a business management major, and I took this class kind of same reason, just to fill a requirement, but I've always been interested in entrepreneurship, so it's been fun.
Excellent. Well, we hope you get a lot out of it. I will start the conversation, as I do every week, by reminding you, especially the engineers in the room, of which I know there are many. I've worked most of my career in engineering-rich environments. I was very lucky to work at an aerospace engineering firm, also known as Rolls-Royce, a HVAC engineering firm, also known as Carrier, and then now several tech companies with software engineers. And I promise you that as much as we need engineers, the people that rise to the top in every job field, whether it's engineering or finance, HR, are the people that can put a deck together to tell the most compelling story. You are constantly going to be placed in positions in which you are asked to explain what you are doing and justify why you need to do more of it, or build a team, or change directions, or. And oftentimes, as much as we'd like to have that story be told in a spreadsheet with a handful of bullets, we've been conditioned in the business world to tell that story via slide decks with visuals and short bullets and enough slides so that people can understand a clear narrative, a story, if you will, about whatever position you're taking. So the skill you're building in this class, the muscle you are starting to build and stress and learn how to flex, is one of the most important you will actually use in the business world. Because I promise you, whatever you start doing now most of you will not be doing that in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right? The way the economy works and the way businesses work is everything just keeps changing. And so either you change with it or you find yourself out of a job. And so I promise you, though, that this skill is the one skill that has been transferable across every place I've worked. And I've worked with dozens of engineers who do exactly what you're doing every day, which is I'm going to put together a host of information. I'm going to organize it in a thoughtful way that tells a crisp story. And then I'm going to narrate it in a way that invites people to ask questions and to understand comprehensively what I'm trying to do. So with that said, I remind all of you, while this is an elective and while it may seem just comfortably adjacent to what you're doing, this is the skill that you will need to be successful in your job, because your job will change, the industry will change, but this skill, building decks, telling stories, convincing others, is the most transferable skill that will carry you very, very far in your career. Okay, with that said, I'm going to jump into my slides. We're going to keep it brief tonight. I say that every time, and I always go 20 minutes because I like to share stories. So again, my name is Brian Mitchell. I am a guest professor, lecturer here. People keep showing up late, and I keep admitting them, and I say I always won't because I want everyone to get their extra credit. But I promise you folks, in the real world, show up on time. It goes a long way. Okay, we are now at Module 4, Creativity. One of the obviously funner of the 7 C's to flex and to learn and to deploy, because it's so highly valued in the business world, right? I'm in marketing and advertising and communications, which naturally lends itself to creativity. But I would argue, it's engineers and the thinkers, tinkers, and builders of the world that are the most creative, right? And bring us the biggest innovations that change our world with their creativity. Before we do that, you guys know I always like to get into a little life lesson as it relates to language. I believe it is the hidden unlock that will determine which of you make a ton of money and achieve all your wildest dreams, and which of you are held back from doing that. That is, who learns how to convey information the best through both writing and even more so through speaking. Your ability to influence others and to be a good listener often comes down to choosing the exact right word at the exact right time. Or the even harder skill is knowing when to shut up and not say anything and just nod your head politely or defer to the people around you, which is a hugely valuable skill when you're junior in your career. But as to the power of the right word, we've talked about I versus you. We've talked about feel versus think. And now we'll talk about tell versus show. This feels obvious, but it's worth reminding people. No one wants to be told anything. It kind of insults our intelligence when someone just tells us the way it'll be. But you can convey the same information by showing us something, and it comes off much softer, more diplomatic, more collaborative, more thoughtful, right? So in your daily communications, think about when you deploy the word tell or told versus show or shown or showed. It can make a huge difference. I think the old saying, right, in writing is don't tell, show, or show, don't tell, right? Don't say John was mad. Say John stomped his feet and ran out of the room, right? And it's the same in business. Don't tell people things, show them, and use the word show. It is more collaborative and will put people in a place to be more comfortable to hear the message you're trying to deliver. Okay. Creativity is, again, a ton of fun to deploy, and I've had great success in my career. I'm going to walk you through a few brief examples of the power of creativity. First, from SonicU, a tremendous company that I had the great pleasure of working at for 3 years. In Indianapolis, Indiana, we made and still make temperature monitoring solutions. i.e. little IoT sensors that are cloud connected to the internet that transmit the temperature inside of fridges and freezers that carry precious cargo like drugs, plasma, organs, tissue, vaccine, pharmaceuticals, and. Any hospital you go to is full of fridges and freezers that have materials that if they leave a certain temperature threshold, lose their efficacy. And so we put monitors in them. So if that freezer gets unplugged or dies or breaks or someone leaves the door open or there's all these ways a fridge or freezer can fail to perform, it will send you a text, call you and tell you fridge number 7 on the 3rd floor of the West Wing of Banner Health is not working. Hugely powerful. The challenge when you work in these worlds is to differentiate yourself from the competition. So what you'll find when you get out in the business world is you'll work for a company who has 3 to 5, 7, 12. It depends on the niche, but you'll have competitors. And many of those competitors will do 85 to 90% of the things you do, and they'll do the 70% that are most important to the client, right, to win the business. And so then your job as a marketer is to say, how do I stand out in that market? And for me, what I tried to do was just have a little fun with the idea of a refrigerator or a freezer that can call you or text you, which is what our software allows you to do. All of our competitors essentially wrote content that looked a lot like ours, very technical, very dry, very matter of fact, meant to just convey the information that our product does what it says it does and will deliver what you need it to do, which is a difficult way to get someone's attention in their inbox when you're sending cold email. So I created the character called Fred the Freezer. Okay, we're coming in now 10 minutes late, Sarah. You have to be on time in the real world, people. This is the thing that separates the good from the great. And Fred the Freezer essentially took on a personality where he wasn't feeling well. So he sent a text to his friend and said, I've got an issue. And then they sent him into the OR to have surgery. And I wrote a whole series of emails that was like a comic strip that told the story of the freezer going through his journey of alerting people that he wasn't well and then getting his surgery, a new compressor, and then going back out into service and taking care of the drugs in the hospital. Creative. No one was doing anything like this, right? And it was trying to just grab someone's attention in a clever way. And sure enough, once or twice a month, someone would write back to me in my cold email and say, hey, we've already got a temperature monitoring solution, but that's a clever email. Well done. Meaning it was getting through people's, all the bombardment we get of all the marketing messages. So your job out in the real world of work is to find ways to apply creativity to things that are often quite dry and technical. Now, you don't have to be as, borderline comedic as we were trying to be here, but there are other ways you can do that to apply creativity. Now, the one that's, really close to my heart and would be close to your heart as well, if any of you rode the school bus while you were in middle school and high school, is a product called Here Comes the Bus. Okay. And what's interesting about Here Comes the Bus is it was invented by a small company in Indianapolis, Indiana, called Synovia Solutions. And it happened after they failed on a huge innovative push to develop a new product in which they spent years developing a product, couldn't figure it out, and lost hundreds of thousands of dollars and untold hours and time and focus they could have been applying to other things. And then they went back to the drawing board, listened to their clients and said, what do you need? And the client said, we would love to be able to send the bus location data to parents. So not only do we know where the bus is from GPS location, us in the garage that send out the buses every day and track them on our giant monitor, but the individual parent can see where their child's bus is, right? The same way we all track an Uber or Lyft on our phone. And so the team went to work, as great engineers do, for years to build this out. And this was, back in 2012, 13, 14, when this stuff was still very nascent in its life cycle. And the iPhone was still developing in its ability to kind of deliver that real-time location data. But when you do this and you become first to market, you get what we enjoyed at Synovia, which was, you see there, 4.6 stars, 80,000 ratings, and we grew the business 25% year on year for 5 years in a row, which when you got in the business world, you'll find is very hard to do. It's, growing a business is incredibly difficult in the best of times, but to have that kind of growth year after year, quarter after quarter, month after month, means you're doing a lot of things really right. And most importantly, in any of these instances, whether it's the Synovia product or this product, it's having the right product at the right time that answers the right problem for the user. This is incredibly powerful today. It's been replicated by a dozen other companies. They are very common now in school districts, but when we launched this in 2015, nobody had ever done this. Lots of people had thought about how nice it would be, but no one had the technical chops to marry GPS data from a GPS tracker with an individual cell phone for an individual rider. You guys are all engineers, so you're probably clever enough to kind of like run that loop through your head of all that data that has to move between all the different locations in real time to deliver that experience to that user. Today, we take this for granted because Uber and Lyft just do this every single day. But in 2015, this was unheard of. And it was a huge amount of creativity. What I wanted to stress here is this came after the team failed on a big innovative push on a separate product. And so, when you get out in the business world, you're going to have to be able to take your lumps, go do things that are hard, and sometimes fall down, fail, and have to look yourself in the mirror, pick yourself back up and go, we got to go do this thing all over again on a whole new project. We live in this world where we give a lot of credit to the winners and they're featured in the media, and it almost makes winning feel inevitable. And that innovation just works all the time. But I can tell you, I've worked at great companies in all these sectors who have failed when they launch new products. And that's hard, right? It's hard to come to grips with you've spent the time and the energy, and then to pick yourself back up and go do something equally as hard and be successful. You can imagine how satisfying that was, and just a huge amount of creative energy. Finally, those of you who've been in past courses know I worked at a company called Vestige. Vestige did GPS tracking as well as safety cameras, dash cameras for commercial vehicles. Okay. And what we learned by talking to our clients is that in the niche of tow trucks, which is one of the most dangerous vehicles on the road to drive for obvious reasons, right? You're on the side of the highway picking up a vehicle as cars speed by at 70 miles an hour. It's a dangerous place to go to work every day. That many of the accidents took place while the bed of the tow truck was engaged, meaning the tow truck gets the call to go do the job. It leaves the yard. It drives to the location. It pulls up to you on the road. It has the interaction with the driver. But the minute they go and start lowering that bed and lifting that vehicle up for those 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is, that's the most dangerous period of their day, when the most things can potentially go wrong that can lead to injuries and unfortunately even fatalities. And so what we learn to do is listen to our clients and understand that, and link the hardware to the actual switches in the vehicle, which is called a power takeoff. That's the switch the gentleman's pushing there that engages the bed. And what happens is you end up getting images and video that look like this. So what we did is when they engaged the power takeoff, it time-stamped it and said, this is engaged. So if something happened, it'd be easy to go back and find that exact moment. So when the police showed up or anything happened with law enforcement, you'd have the video right there and then to track what happened. Because as you can see here, you've got a tow truck on the side of the road. He's getting ready to tow this van, the work van there on the far left, and someone wasn't paying attention, drifted off the road, and is about to get some serious air off of this power takeoff. And this is what happens on the other side. Obviously, a horrible day for everyone involved here. The tow truck driver just went to go do his job. He did nothing wrong. A driver lost attention of the road just momentarily, and off they go. But what we've done because of this innovation, because of this creativity, right? We didn't just build the camera and position it behind the vehicle. We listened to our clients and said, okay, this is the most dangerous time. Let's timestamp this. So when this incident happens and the police show up, you can go right to your phone and literally click it twice and go, boom, boom, boom. Here it is. Here's the incident. And the officer can watch it in real time and go, oh, wow, okay, I know what happened. I can write my report up and be able to exonerate the tow truck driver and be able to attend to the proper adjudication of this report. For those of you not familiar with law enforcement, this is hugely important because what happens is the initial report that law enforcement officer writes is usually the version of the truth that becomes difficult to overcome in a court of law or in a lawsuit or in a criminal proceeding, right? So if the law enforcement officer has the truth and the facts right in front of them in those exact minutes after an accident happens, the odds of things going in the favor of the truth go up incredibly. There are countless cases of the law enforcement officer, taking the word of eyewitnesses that are wrong. And only later do people produce videos that go, yeah, you heard that from the witness, but here's the video from the grocery store or the gas station across the street that captures what really happened. That's a very common occurrence in law enforcement. The challenge is it's very difficult. Nobody wants to call into question the effectiveness and truthfulness of a law enforcement officer because we all respect the hard work they're doing. So this is what's called creativity in the engineering world when you're thinking about how do I apply the tools at hand, a camera and a power takeoff switch, marry them to create a new solution that then better serves our clients. Okay, getting back to the final act of tell versus show. Why tell someone they are great when you can show them they are great? That's a short example I came up with before this class. And there's a lot of ways you can show someone they're great, right? A high five, a thank you card, taking someone out for lunch, a gift card. Like there's things that cost no money or things that cost a lot of money, but there's a lot of ways to show someone something versus just telling them that. And this is the kind of stuff that really resonates in the business world and can make an enormous difference in your ability to influence other people and ultimately be successful in your role. Okay, that was exactly 20 minutes. I did it on time. Any questions before I let you all get back? Again, we talked about temperature monitoring at SonicU and the Fred the Freezer. We talked about the Here Comes the Bus innovation at Synovia Solutions. And we talked about the power takeoff button, marrying it with the reverse camera on a tow truck. Very, very pedestrian bit of innovation there, but very powerful for a small subset of our economy, tow truck drivers. I hope that helps you think about innovation and how you might apply it in your world. And I hope you have a question or two. If not, I'd be happy to let you go. Jason, thank you. You're very kind. Well, thank you, everybody. I know it's summer. We got a lot to do. with our family and friends. So please go enjoy yourself. Allison, thank you. It was great to meet you. And I appreciate you all making time for me this evening. Go do great things in your course and in your life. Take care, everybody.
Thank
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks. Bye.